Merry Christmas everyone, hope you're having a good holiday break. Today we're going to be going over some of my favorite units from year 5 of Fire Emblem Heroes. I want to talk about some older units that I've updated some builds for, talk about my ongoing merge projects, and then share some interesting summons that I've had this year. I think this year's been a pretty good year for me personally, summoning wise, and at the very end I also want to share some of my absolute favorite units that I've been using a ton. We got a lot to go through, so let's just get started. First up, I got some fun heroic grail units I want to talk about. I believe last year I talked about plus 10 Valter and Joshua, and this year I actually was able to update their builds with some spicy refines as well. For Valter, I actually was able to get Wyvern Flight, and I decided to pair with Attack and Defense Menace. I like to call this the Wyvern Menace build. I think those two skills work really well together because Wyvern Flight does depend on those flat stats, and Attack and Defense Menace gives you debuffs and buffs, which can hopefully proc Wyvern Flight more effectively. Decided to go with Attack and Defense solo just because that's what Melody had with Wyvern Flight. And then I'd usually like to pair a Valter with a solo Secret Seal as well. Again, this is not, I think I talked about this build earlier this year, but it's not the most reliable OP build or anything, but it's very fun. I decided to go put together because I wasn't going to use Wyvern Flight anyways. As for Joshua, he got his Adhuma refined this year, and I did finally pull the trigger on going with a distant counter build, as well as using Spurring 3. Very fun stuff there. You know, he's not the fastest unit out there, but I like to use Joshua just for like PvE maps or general content. No problems there. As for the Black Knight, well, this past year we got some very fun new interesting armor skills in near save and far save, and I was able to get my hands on a Valentine's Gustav, and I decided to give his near save skill to the Black Knight, as well as I also passed along Close Defense 4, which I don't think is my favorite A skill for Black Knight because generally I just want to kill people with Black Luna thanks to Alondite getting its slaying refine. But I decided to just use that for the moment. I also gave him Crafty Fighter for guard, although my Black Knight does have Special Fighter already. I've just been playing around with different skills. For Secret Seals, oh my god, it's really... Black Knight really got a lot of good stuff this year because we also got Steady Breath as a Secret Seal, so I can use that in this build if I don't want to run Special Fighter, and I can insta-proc Black Lunas. It's a lot of fun, and I'm very happy with how this build is, although I do think I want a little more attack and damage somewhere in this build. I have been pairing Black Knight with some other heroes who can accelerate special cooldowns, so if I run him with those, I don't need Steady Breath. I can run him with something else like a Tech and Speed Bond, for example. But for generally, it's been a really fun build, and I'm very happy with Near Save and Black Luna. Next, let's talk about my two Ephraims. Well, Legendary Ephraim more like got his remix buffs this year, and he also got the refine for Flame Sigmund. However, because regular Ephraim can get access to Flame Sigmund as well, I also gave him the refine, and holy cow, Flame Sigmund's refine is really strong. It's definitely way better than the regular Sigmund, which got a refine I think in the very first batch like years ago. So I can definitely say that my regular plus 10 Ephraim, very happy with that, you know, still running distant counter on him, and since I don't need to run quick riposte anymore, I could basically run whatever in the B slot. At the currently I'm running Wrath, although I think I would like to swap that out for something else. Also for C skills, I'm just using Attack Smoke, but I really would like to put Pulse Smoke on my Ephraim, just to stop some other annoying specials from the enemy. As for Legendary Ephraim, I didn't really do anything because he got Attack and Defense Solo 4 with the remix buffs, and then Solar Brace 2 got its update, which really strong. Kanto is definitely very good, and Legendary Ephraim makes really good use of Flame Sigmund's refine with Solar Brace 2. He's definitely a lot better off. You know, he's definitely not the craziest legendary now, but he's definitely way better than before, and I'm very happy using him. He's very fun with Gale Force now for sure. Another refine that we got this year was for Summer Tana. I haven't done much with her either, however I already had her built up with a merge, and I just gave her nice, very fun warping refine for the Fruit of Idun. I would like to get Joint Drive Attack, but don't currently have that, so at the moment, you know, just sitting with a very basic 3 Desperation, and then any support buffs in the Sacred Seal slot and the C slot. Next up, I have some Forma units. I did use some Forma souls this year. First, I guess I'll talk about Marisa. I basically got this Spring Marisa Forma because she's one of the Sacred Stones units I don't have in my collections, and now that I do have her, the only unit I'm missing from the Sacred Stones collection is regular Lute, and I just can't get her, and honestly, I'm kind of just hoping I can randomly pull her from the special or the 4-star special grade group. Hopefully I'll get her one day. As for this Forma Spring Marisa, had some pretty fun skills. Ninja Yari Lance, Dual Rally, Ruptured Sky, Attack and Speed Catch with a Near Trace B skill, very fun stuff. As for Sothe, I decided, or I've always wanted to plus 10 him, but I just never really did it because I wasn't really sure what to do with his build, but he did get his Pesh Cats refined, and I decided to go for it because he was one of the Forma units. I actually got some pretty fun skills for him. Ruptured Sky, Attack and Speed Ideal 4, which is okay because Sothe does buff himself up after you attack with Pesh Cats. I also have Attack and Speed Menace to also buff himself up in case. And then I was able to get Special Spire, which I think would be really fun with an AoE Special Spire build. This is just the skills that I currently pulled on him from the Forma or the Hall of Forms. Next up, I want to talk about some units I've been merging on the side. For Knoll, I talked about Knoll last year, and he was one of my merge projects for this year as a low rarity unit. I do actually have more copies of Knoll, but I don't have enough to get the plus 10 just yet, and I still don't really know what I want to do with him. I was hoping to get a better red tome, but as we've talked about for a lot of our Grand Hero Battle Red mages this year, I don't really think there's a great red inheritable tome at the moment for him. Currently, I just gave him Peleus's Red Lion tome. I was thinking of trying a buffing and debuffing build because Noah's our summoner from Sacred Stones, and I was thinking, you know, maybe he'll just let his teams do the work for him. So I don't have the skills on him currently, but I was thinking of maybe giving him a Rally and Ruse support build along with the Lion Tome attack buffs. Maybe go with something like a joint hone C skill to give some more buffs to know himself, but currently still haven't done much with him. Hopefully I can get hopefully in the future there's a better red tome that I want to use on him. Now for my other merge project, I finally decided to plus 10 Seth fully. I always had some merges on him, but never really merged into plus 10 because his Silver Pran Refine is not that amazing, let's be honest. It's okay, but I wanted Seth to do a little bit of the killing himself, and I was able to get the Unbound Blade this year, so I said screw it, let's just do it. With the Unbound Blade, I decided to go with the pretty standard solo build for Cavaliers, attack and defense solo, attack and speed solo, or whatever solo secret skill I've been using, and then I'll browse C-skill for self buffs. I decided to use the Percival Ephraim manual for a low attack and speed. Definitely not the best use of that skill, but still I said, I want to build Seth. It's been years, and hopefully he can get an ult. I'm really surprised he hasn't gotten an ult at all in these last 5 years. Hopefully he'll get a good one. Alright, let's talk about some units that I've actually summoned from this year. Well, technically I guess last year, but close enough. I was able to get Harmonic, Altina, and Sanaki. I know technically they're from the same games, or from the same series, but they considered them from the different games of Radiant Dawn and Path Radiance, so they could go with the Harmonic title. Regardless, I think Harmonic Altina is really fun to use just because she can combine No-See Disrupt with her Harmonize skill, which gives her advantage, and because we got the Steady Breath Sacred Seal, it's a very, very fun time because that can insta-proc Twin Blades on her second hit. Pretty fun unit. I've been pairing her up with Dual Micaiah to add dominance into the mix. It's a really hilarious time when it works. Another Harmonic unit I got for this year was Harmonic Myrrh and Na. Very happy with how they perform. I think their skill, or their Harmonic skill, is also really good because it gives Myrrh IOT shield so she doesn't die to archers. When Resonance Battles does come around for these games, I do use them quite a bit actually in that mode. And it's basically just a Myrrh 2.0, you know, distant counter, Dragon's Ire, really tanky unit. This year, because the kids banner was themed around Sacred Stones, I did get everyone, and holy cow, we got another year of really strong kids. What are they feeding them? I think all of the young Sacred Stone units are pretty good. Tiny Tana is really fun. She has a lot of great skills on her, and she already can warp within 2 spaces thanks to her weapon. She's got that near trace for Kanto, and she's a really fun, fairly solid lance flyer. As for Little Laura's show, I think she's a really good healer because her staff lets her apply the no counterattack status, and her weapon basically already comes with Wrathful Staff, so she can kind of get Wrathful and Dazzling Staff at the same time, and she still has room to run a Kanto B skill, which is really strong in certain scenarios, and she's just a really solid healer. I think her status effect is really good, which is why I also think Walhard's recent refine is really good, because he applies that same no counterattack status to everybody. It's a really solid effect to have on a unit. As for dual Eirika and Ephraim, I talked about this earlier, but I've had an absolutely awful time summoning red units this year, and they were one of the units I could not get at all. I summoned so many times to try and get them, and it took forever to just end up with a minus speed one, which kind of hurts because their whole dual skill is basically they give themselves dodge, and that kind of sucks having a speed bane on them, but whatever. I'm just happy to have them. Despite how long it took to get them, it did lead to something else that did another good thing. I'll talk about that later, so you know, it wasn't all bad in the end. For some other regular 5-star units this year, I got Volke and Ingrid. Volke was more of a recent one, and I did try to go for that +1 merge, which was definitely some bait I fell into, but you know, I ended up with a speed boom, so it worked out in the end. Volke's a very fun character, very fun. I was surprised at how pretty strong they made his weapon, and they actually gave him lethality, which I'm really surprised about, but you know, no complaint there. Very fun stuff. As for Ingrid, I actually ended up with a speed bane on Ingrid the first time I got her, but then later on a random occasion I got a plus speed. I think she has a speed super boon, and but that's a huge difference in speed going for her, because Ingrid's whole deal is having more speed to get her fire soup effect, and she does more damage based on her speed stats, so very happy with that. And I think Ingrid's another solid Lance Cavalier in this year, even though we've had a lot of good Lance Cavs this year. Next, I want to talk about the CYL 5 units. I did get everyone. I do like summoning on the Brave banners because, you know, all these units are generally pretty solid. For Brave Marth, you know, this year our second place winners got a second unique skill, and boy, Marth uses it well with Shining Emblem. Shining Emblem is a really good special, and it's almost Regna Astra's damage combined with a whole bunch of free field buffs. Combine that with his Genesis Falchion, which does a whole lot of things, but very solid, especially bringing back the classic distant counter and advantage combo. He has distant pressure and then spurn. You know, it's a really fun time, and very happy with just having a copy of him. As for the Gatekeeper, I've been trying him out in Aether Raids a little bit. I'm pretty happy with how he's doing in certain scenarios, but you know, he's definitely not like the best fighter himself. He's mainly just there to block warping skills or things prevent like range cavaliers from getting around him to your teammates. He's a really interesting unit, and I definitely need to play with him more as things go on. Last, I did get a Brave Marianne with a speed boom, which is pretty good. She's very fast. Still don't know where to place her. Like, I think her skill or her Requiem Dance can be very useful, but not having that damage special sucks so much, and I don't know. I feel like she's just somewhat of an awkward unit certain times, even though she herself is pretty good in combat even without that damage special, just because of how much damage reduction she gets. Damage reduction has been crazy this year. Speaking of which, I also was able to get a legendary Claude, one of the craziest sources of damage reduction with his 80% from Fallen Star. I think I got him not on his initial banner, but I got him when I was trying to get Ashura. I think he was paired on her on that banner, and I was just able to get a copy of him. I did get a minus attack Claude, but you know, it's okay. I was just happy to get a copy of him because Fallen Star is insane with its 80% damage reduction and then the gravity, or the AoE gravity, which is very good. Also was able to get legendary Byleth. Very happy with that. I think Byleth's very good, and then I'm very happy with how he deals with certain colorless armored beast units. Sublime Heaven, being able to just nuke those type of units is really fun. Pretty happy with Arrow. I was able to get another copy, so I just decided to merge him up, and I'm very happy with how he plays. For Mythic units this year, I did mention I was trying to get Ashura, but I was not able to get Ashura. I did get some other fun Mythics though this year. I was able to pull Ullr. I don't think I tried to pull her on her initial banner. I think I was pulling her on Legendary Faye's banner, but I didn't get Faye. I got a random Ullr instead. You know, I'll take it. She's pretty good, and she was able to give me that extra team slot for light seasons. Although everyone did just get Ash recently, so you know, no big deal. But still, she's a very fun unit. As for Hell, I think I got Hell when I was trying to go for Legendary Byleth. I believe she was on his banner too. Not the best Bane minus speed on her, but you know, it's okay. Wasn't expecting to get her. Just happy with a single copy. And then for Thorr, I actually waited because Thorr and Atreus banner lasted a long time, and it was kind of risky because I decided to try to get her when we didn't know the winter the winter units, and when it turned out that the winter units had Sacred Stones characters, I was like, uh-oh. But it worked out. I was able to get Thorr without spending a lot of orbs, and very happy with how she plays. I've been pairing her up with Black Knight because of Worldbreaker, combining with that instant Black Luna. Very fun stuff, and I think she's a really good unit to play around just because of all that special cooldown. I will say that she also just absolutely bops some units. I keep forgetting that she's effective against arm units, and she kind of just destroys a whole bunch of them as well. This year we also had the introduction of the Ascended units. I'm not sure what their plan is for Ascended Heroes. I'm really hoping that because Book 6 has brought the plot back to Asker and Embla, I'm really hoping we get Ascended Asker Trio, because you know, everyone's been asking when can we merge up the original Alphonse, Sharena, and Anna, and I feel like they're not going to let that happen because they make them the bonus units in Arena. But if we get Ascended versions of them, you know, I would definitely be down for that. I would love to see what they would do with them. I was able to get both Ascended Fjorm and Ascended Laegjarn. I'm pretty happy getting Ascended Fjorm because I didn't really have many near save or far save army units, and Fjorm's whole deal is abusing far save with Ice Mirror and the very interesting Hardy Fighter B skill. I know Hardy Fighter is definitely an interesting choice nowadays because you're able to use damage reduction from your special, and all these skills that disable damage reduction passive skills don't affect those things like Aegis, and it's a very interesting choice that we're going back to damage special or damage reduction specials when, generally speaking, we've just been full on damage specials pretty much since the start of Fae. So I think it's a really interesting skill, although it's definitely probably going to be another rare B skill to get. As for Ascended Laegjarn, I decided to go for Laegjarn mainly because she was on Volke's banner. I think I ended up sparking her while I chased for another copy of Volke, but regardless, I don't really have many built up cavalry archers, so I thought she'd be another nice addition to my barracks. She's definitely a really fun unit, although sometimes it can be a pain to get rouse attack and speed active if you have nearby teammates. I do think she's a pretty fun unit though. I mean, having Kanto on these ranged cavaliers is just so ridiculous sometimes. Like, the amount of things you can do with that much mobility and attack range is just it's too much. Faye is, I think we're gonna need an anti-Kanto skill sometime in the future. Last and most recent units I've summoned for this year are of course the winter units. Like I mentioned earlier, I decided to summon on Thor's banner before we found out that it was gonna be Artur and then Lysithea and Lute, and I was like, uh-oh, I might have to spend some money, but I was luckily able to get both of them within the 40 summons. I ended up getting Lysithea with plus attack, so I'm very happy with that. She does a ton of damage, especially if you have their Harmonic skill active. And then I decided to just spark for Artur. As much as I want more far save type skill fodder, I don't think I'm going to push my luck further on the winter banner, so I'm pretty happy with that, with a neutral nature on Artur. And I haven't decided what to do with him just yet. I was looking into my what fodder I had laying around, and I do think I might go for the full defense and res stacking build with defense or distant defense 4. I do have a Canegus, and he has Vengeful Fighter so I might just give that to Artur, even though I don't think it's the strongest armor B skill really much anymore these days, but still, you know, better than nothing, I guess. Odd follow-up's okay, but I just think if I'm gonna go with far save and just trying to be a pure tank, I definitely think Vengeful Fighter is probably better off. I think I'm gonna try to stick this Artur on one of my 8-3 defense teams because, like I said, I don't have a lot of far save or near save units, and I'm already using Black Knight and Fjorm for the offense 8-3 teams, so it would be nice to have a far save unit for my defense team. As for Lysithea, I'm not sure what to do with her just yet. I might also stick her on a 8-8's team, but you know, at the current moment, just been using them out in the Tempest Trials, and they're both very fun units.
Understood.
Okay, so now I want to talk about 3 of my absolute favorite units from this year, and very happy with the units I've got this year. First up, talked about him a bunch, but I was able to plus 10 little Lyon. The main reason I plus 10'd him was because while I was chasing after a single copy of dual Eirika and Ephraim, I just kept pulling him whenever I decided to get the blue orbs. I was able to get a decent amount of copies before I decided that, you know, I just said screw it. Instead of summoning only red, I decided to go for red and blue orbs on that kid's banner, and I had just kept getting Lyon, so I was able to plus 10 him, plus attack boom, very happy with that, and I decided to give him some very fun skills. I was able to go with close foil and then low attack and res. I would like a better C skill, something more selfish, I guess you could say, for Lyon, but at the moment I'm very fine with whatever he's got on. I have been using him a decent amount in things like legendary hero maps. Usually I will use something like quick riposte on him, but otherwise I also like using him with an AoE special, mainly just because being able to save up a special nuke for the player phase has been quite useful on those maps. That's why I have Blazing Wind on him. I've currently also been using him on some of my 8-8 defense teams. He's been pretty fun there, you know, he's just a really tanky boy, and I'm very happy with, I was really surprised. I wasn't really planning to plus 10 him, but it worked out, and I'm pretty happy with little Lyon from this year. Another young unit from the Sacred Stones banner. I know a lot of people have plus 10s of him, but it's young Innis. Young Innis is probably, I would say he's probably easily like the best hero grow unit from this year, and that's great for me because he's also from Sacred Stones. So, you know, I was already going to use him anyway, but he's also a really good unit, and I actually went a little overboard going with premium skills for him. You can see I have what I usually use is on the left. I usually just go with Ruptured Sky and Time's Pulse for the instant proc, and then Sword Sparrow for the player phase, and then no follow-up in case I need to double tap something. And then I'm generally using Blade Session just for the max amount of attack and speed. But while I was inheriting skills to Innis, I also was able to grab some other important skills. Like, for example, because I gave Innis Time's Pulse, I decided to use a Shinon because I could also pass along Deadeye. And while Innis does not need Deadeye for damage reduction and nullification, you know, Deadeye is its own, or it has its own type of damage instead of like Ruptured Sky or Luna. So I decided to go for it anyways. I think while I was getting no follow-up, I used a Falling Male Corrin, I think, so that's also why I have attack and speed solo 4 on him. And then I also was able to grab low speed and defense because I think when I gave him Swiss Sparrow I used a Reagan, so that's why I was able to also get that skill as well. Like, a little overboard for sure. It's not like I can use all of these skills at the same time, but you know, young Innis definitely deserves it, I guess you could say. He's a really good archer, and definitely one of the top units from this year overall, I guess you could say. Finally, last, I talked about her a bunch already, but I was able to plus 10 Brave Eirika. She's my second plus 10 of a 5-star only unit, and definitely worth it, I guess you could say. Because we knew we always know the Choose Your Legends winners. I was saving up for this year. I was prepared to get a lot of copies of her, and with a pretty good amount of luck, I was able to plus 10 her. I'd use my free pick on her, I used the free spark on her. I think I was able to get the other copies with less than 800 orbs, so very worth for me. I guess you could say from earlier this year, we didn't know that the second place winners would get a second unique skill. So when we found that out, I was like, holy cow. And then Moonlight Bango is definitely something. Like, I think Binding Regan Leaf would have made Eirika pretty good already, but Moonlight Bango kicks things up a notch by giving her Kanto and then stuff like No Guard, and then basically sort of the a similar playstyle to Legendary Eirika, where if you proc a special, she gets extra damage on top of that, and it's just insane with the scaling factor into Moonlight Bango. You can get so much damage out of Eirika. That's also why you see I have Dragon Fang and Heavy Blade. I also like to use Astra just because Astra's a fun special, but generally Dragon Fang's probably more consistent. I like using this combo instead of just not using Heavy Blade because it also lets Eirika heal more off of Surge Sparrow, and I've talked about it a bunch as well. I think Surge Sparrow is a really good A skill from this year, just because of the percent max HP healing effect. Because Dragon Fang's a 3 cooldown with Binding Regan Leaf, I think it heals Eirika for 70% for max HP, I believe. And that is just insane. Because Eirika also has damage reduction, she can tank a hit, and she can just basically full heal every single engagement, which it's so strong for stuff like legendary maps and whatnot. I think it's like the combined factor of Brave Eirika has a ton of killing power, but then she also just is able to full heal, so she can just keep killing things over and over and over. It's ridiculous, and it's definitely a little OP in my opinion. For sure, like one of the strongest units I have in my barracks at the moment. Like I said earlier, but if we keep doing braver finds for units, I can't even imagine what she would get in what, 2 years from now. Just like I can't imagine the CYL 4 units getting refines in the next year. It's gonna be crazy. It's definitely also a slight factor why I like investing into the CYL units, so I guess you could say. I guess there's not that much else to say that I haven't already talked about for Brave Eirika. You know, showed her off a bunch on my channel already, and she's a great unit, so if you can get her, definitely keep her. Those are some of my favorite units from the past year, including some of my updated builds. I would say pretty good year this year for me overall. I'm very happy with a lot of these units, and I think I got pretty lucky because a lot of these Sacred Stone units I picked up turned out to be real strong, including things like Brave Eirika, who, you know, I was not expecting her to be that strong. Turns out that Kanto also really good skill this year, and because Eirika can abuse a whole bunch of things, she's a monster. In terms of units I missed out from this year that I really want, I don't think anything sticks out particularly other than Ashura. I was really trying hard for Ashura, but I just couldn't get her. I think at the time I was trying to get another Astra Mythic hero for the rating party bonus, but you know, I ended up getting Thorr, so I guess it's okay for now, but still I would love to get Ashura later in the future. I do like the Teleus game, so I was hoping to add her to my collection as well. In terms of things I'm looking forward to, it's been a year since the new heroes, or the last new heroes banner for Sacred Stone, so I'm already trying to prep for that. That's why I don't really want to summon more on the Winter banner or the Legendary banner, or I don't think I'm planning to summon a New Year's banner because it's probably going to be Heroes and Beast again. Hopefully the next New Heroes banner in January is not Sacred Stones. I would like a little more time to save up, but if whatever it is, I hope they choose units from the early game, because some of those characters are my absolute favorites, just because I played Sacred Stones a bunch, so you know, you use those guys a lot, and honestly a lot of the early game characters are not in the game yet. Personally for me, I think the character I would want the most from like the early game is definitely Gilliam. I hope they give him a chain weapon like they did for Amelia, because the GBA general animations are just so silly. I would love if they do it again. I don't know, I feel like I definitely feel like they already used a lot of the star power in Sacred Stones. Like a lot of the early game characters are definitely, like, I could see almost all of them being demotes, but we'll see what they do for them. You know, hopefully they don't screw them over if they end up being like 5-star units. Hopefully everyone can get a unique weapon, for example, or just have some good skills, but I guess I'm not expecting that much. I don't know who else they would add to the banner, I guess you could say. Anyway, I have been working behind the scenes. I've been taking notes down on all of the FEH main story books, and I just got through book 4, and I'm just gonna say book 4 was something, that's for sure. Moving on to book 5, we're gonna review what exactly happened throughout the last year, and hopefully book 6 in the coming year brings some good things for us. You know, I'm excited that we're back to Embla versus Asker. But I'm hoping interesting things happen. Maybe we'll see the Asker and Embla gods themselves, you know, instead of just the retainers. I want to try to put out a video about the lore. I'm still not sure what topic I want to choose, but hopefully I can get that out before the year is over. Thanks for watching. I guess I'll see you soon, and Merry Christmas. See you later.